Ooh, welcome everyone to another episode of Slasher Scotty. I am your host, Scotty McCoy, and boy, do I have a surprise for you. I have on Zoom with me right now William Butler, and he played Michael in Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. How you doing, Billy?
Hey man, thanks for having me, Scotty, Slasher Scotty.
Thank
Very
you.
happy to be here.
I'm glad to have you on. As we, like you said earlier before we started recording, we rescheduled this about 2 times, and we
Yeah,
finally made
yeah.
it happen.
I know it's been absolutely crazy, but I'm very, very happy to be here.
Not a problem. So the first question I got for you is, how did you get your start into acting?
Well, I was an actor when I was little in local theater
Hmm.
in a small town that I was from, and then I wasn't sure if I was good enough or if I was going to be able to
Hmm.
focus on it, and I moved to Los Angeles. I started working at John Beekler's makeup shop, where I worked on movies like The Ghoulies and Spellcaster, RoboJocks, and From
Hmm.
Beyond, and just being around the set, I realized that I probably could pull it off. And not long after that, I started auditioning for stuff. John Beekler directed the Friday the 13th film.
Hmm.
I ended up getting a part in it, and then I just kept working from there. And at a certain point, I didn't do any effects. I acted for about 13 or 14 years before I started writing and directing. I loved it. It was amazing.
That is great. I love writing as well. I'm a published author myself. And speaking
Oh,
of books,
cool.
I know you have a book coming out. So can you let the viewers and listening audience know what the book is about and when and where it can be purchased?
Yes, it's called Tawdry Tales and Confessions from Horror's Boy Next Door. It talks about my journey from the moment that I came to LA and ran out of money in 5 minutes and was living in my car, not knowing what to do, to working my way up to living in a multi-million dollar house, building it all up, losing it all, working with every horror
Mhm.
franchise, and just loving every minute of it. It's put out by Dark Ink. You can look up on Dark Ink. It's
Okay.
their website. It's on sale now, and it ships on May 1st. And I'm extraordinarily proud of it because I think it turned out okay. I think you guys are going to really like it. I have a lot of
That's awesome.
stories in there from Friday the 13th and from Chainsaw Massacre and Night of the Living Dead and the
Awesome.
Ghoulies and all the time I spent living in Rome working for Empire Pictures and all of the dirty details of all the good, bad, and ugly actors that I have had the good fortune of working with, and all the times that I have been good, bad, and ugly. So
That's awesome.
I kept it. I kept it even with everyone.
That's awesome. I can't wait to actually read that myself. I mean, I'm a big fan, especially of autobiographies and especially
Yeah,
of actors that, obviously that I know and that are in things that I like. Obviously, I'm a huge Friday the 13th fan.
yeah, me too.
Long story short, the first horror movie I watched was at age 6, and it was Friday the 13th, Part 7. That was the
Oh
very
no
first movie
way!
I ever saw. Like first
That's
horror movie I've ever
cool.
saw, and it got me. I right from there, I had to watch them all from start to finish. And then
Yeah,
it got me into Halloween and all that. Yeah.
I was a massive, massive horror fan. So
Hmm.
for me to even get into one of these projects
Yeah.
was just so, so
Hmm.
cool. And then I ended up being in all of them except for the Halloween franchise. And I guess I'm
Right.
still young enough to get, maybe one of these days get killed by Michael Myers. Who knows? I don't
That'd
know.
be awesome.
You know, they seem to like killing me. So I don't know what that says about
Exactly.
me, but yeah.
So before we get into the Friday the 13th stuff, I have one more question, obviously, because you have a new show that's out. We were supposed to originally going to promote it before it aired, but now, from what I understand, it has already started airing. Right? It's called
Yes.
Resonator Miskatonic You.
Yes, and I'm very happy to tell you that people love it, and I can't even
Awesome.
tell you how I was scared to death because it's a huge undertaking. Episode 1 and episode 2 are playing on Amazon Prime right now.
Okay.
I worked in 1984. I worked on the original From Beyond, which was directed by a very close friend of mine by the name of Stuart Gordon. He'd also done Reanimator, and I do stuff for Charlie Band every now and at Full Moon. And he said, "What do you want to do that's sort of an ongoing series?" And since Stewart had recently passed, and I just insanely love him so much, I said, "Let's pay homage to him. We could never ever be as cool as he was, or certainly, um, there's just he has his own thing, but." I couldn't help but to be influenced by certainly his taste and his art direction in the original film. So while our show is it's not a retelling or a reboot, there's definitely a lot of
Mhm.
art direction wise reflection in there. And we try to make something for Charlie's platform and for Amazon Prime that is ongoing. And I can say I think we pulled it off. I would say
Awesome.
90% of the reviews and the fan feedback that we're getting is phenomenal. I've read things where they say they think it's the best thing that Full Moon has done in 20 years, and that makes me feel really good. Certainly not taking away from the other stuff on there, which is also good, but we really did try to do something that felt different than the average sort of Full Moon content, and I think we did it, and so I'm really proud of it, and I can't wait to do more. We're going to do part 3 and part 4 this summer, early summer. And if you watch it, you'll be really happy because there's somebody very special at the end of part 2 that gets introduced, and he's going to be a part of the show, and I can't wait to give him all kinds of crazy things to do too.
That's awesome. I definitely
Yeah.
I didn't check it out yet, but I definitely will be checking it out maybe this
Cool.
week or this upcoming weekend, next weekend.
Thank
I'm
you.
usually busy with work and everything throughout the week, but I definitely want to give it a look see because I know it's something that I would be interested in. I did look at the trailer you gave me, and it actually looks really, really good. So I really want to look into that. And anybody listening to this on the podcasting platforms that you're listening on, or if you're watching it on YouTube, the video version of this interview, please check it out. I didn't watch it, so I can't verify, but I'm guaranteeing you it's going to be great. And give it a look see, and definitely let us all know in the comments of what you think about it. I can't wait to do that myself.
I mean, I didn't reinvent the wheel, but if you like pretty girls and slime and rubber monsters and old school 80 vibe, then you get your money's worth just from that alone. That's we definitely hit all those marks. I'm
That's
no
awesome.
Alfred Hitchcock, I'm no Stuart Gordon, and nor have I ever claimed to be, but I definitely didn't screw this one up. I don't think it feels really good to be getting so much love. We horror fans are a very particular group. We like what we like and we don't like, and then there's the slasher people, and then there's the slow burn horror people, and we're all different audiences, but it just feels good to finally have something that it seems like a large amount of people like. But
that's awesome.
Keep our fingers crossed that it stays that way.
That's awesome. And the good thing about that is that even there's everybody, like you said, they like the slasher form, they like the monster movies, and all that.
Yeah.
But all together, we're all a horror family, which makes us all unique and all together.
Yeah, it's funny. There's one person, some of these YouTube people, they do kind of do a character where it's like their thing where they rip projects to shreds, and there is one guy, I can't think of the name of it. It is not hard to find. That just ripped me and Full Moon a new asshole for doing this, and it's the one thing that really bums me out about that we sometimes kill each other. I can really tell you very genuinely that this silly project was put together with so much love and respect for Stuart and for the genre. I just wish I could be one of those people that doesn't get their feelings hurt by horrific reviews, not bad reviews, like get out
it's
of
okay
town.
Getting the constructive criticism reviews.
Yeah,
that always is good to see. But
he burned my ass bad, and I just was like, oh my god, in the day that From Beyond was made, I worked on it. We worked for 3 months, and we had $2 million to make the movie. Do you know how much time they give you on these things now? It's like sometimes it's a miracle that it even cuts together. So it's hard to not get bent out of shape. But that's just me whining as a narcissist, wanting everyone to love me. So anyway,
right, I get it. I'm the same way.
Yeah, I was just like, why? It's like, what did we do wrong? But anyway,
right.
That's just me. If 1 million people love me, I think it's great. If one person hates me, I want to know why. I'm obsessed, So
exactly.
Anyway.
So going into Friday the 13th now, what was your audition like for Part 7, The New Blood?
What was funny, it's in my book. There's a ton of stuff about the process, but basically, I went to Beekler's shop, and he said, hey, I have an acting thing I think you're gonna like. Can you go in my office and read the script in there and don't tell anyone about it? And I was like, okay. So I went in there and I read it, and it was a movie called Birthday Bash. And
Mhm.
I was reading it, and it was good. But it had a killer in it that had a hockey mask on. And I was like, it came out of his office. I was like, well, it's really good, but like, I mean, the hockey mask thing's already been done. Like, why would you guys do that? It really feels like a Friday the 13th movie. He's like, that's because it is a Friday the 13th movie. So they were kind of secretly putting the project together. And originally, the part that I read for was this kind of dumb rock and roll guy. And, I went in several times. I went like 8 times. And, by that time I kind of had the market cornered on, dopey yuppies. And I think they saw me in something else, a TV show that I had done, Murphy Brown. And they're like, yeah, yeah, you're just like a cracker guy. Don't be a rocker. Like, it's better for you to just be a dork. It was a very, small part, but it was a small part, but I ended up being in the entire film. So
Right.
I was there the whole time that they were filming. And it springboarded me into, being this like dopey guy next door in like almost every horror franchise. And I loved every minute of it. I'm not,
That's
certainly not. I'm sad that I'm no longer the guy next door. Now I'm not the old man next door. Now I could be maybe the old grandpa, the old grandpa next door. Um, but anyway, it was great. It was great. I went into audition. It was the silliest audition ever, pretending to pee, pretending to get killed, pretending to see Jason. And
Yep.
by that time I had been in a few horror films. Drink of water. And I had getting killed down by that time. And I was like, gotcha. They're like, here's what you got to do. You're doing this. And I just did it. And I gave good death. So, and I
Awesome.
also have the kind of face you want to hit with a butcher knife. So, I got it. And then we started filming like a week later, and it was just the most fun ever.
Right. Awesome. That's great. So you spoke about John Carl Buechler, God rest his soul. He passed away. Sad. That's really sad.
Yes,
How was
very
he as a
sad.
director?
He was incredible. I was always surprised that he did not have a massive career. He's a very,
Mhm.
very good director, a very funny and nice person. There's not one moment you were around John Buechler where he was ever rude or mean. I wish I could say the same for myself when I'm directing. I'm like snapping at everyone. He never did that. He was really good. He was super smart. And, they cut his movie to ribbons. They cut out all the kills and everything in it. But he was a great director, and he was an even better friend. And I miss him terribly.
Yeah, that's sad though how they butchered
Mhm.
that movie because the movie, like it's one of my favorites in the franchise. It really is. I really enjoy that movie. Like I said, just from a personal standpoint of it being my first ever, not just Friday the 13th movie, but horror movie I've ever saw. That
Mhm.
that just from a childhood, personal effect, that's why it's my favorite. On top of that, I really enjoy the storyline of it. I really like the telekinesis of it and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
me too.
and I think if they kept the blood in there, or at least more blood than what was actually given, it would have been
Mhm.
absolutely phenomenal. Like
Yeah,
it just
yeah,
would have had that
yeah.
gore.
It, it's really a shame that the studio didn't save all the stuff to like make an uncut version. They would have made a fortune on it. I know there's one floating around that's just the work print. And
Yeah,
it's really hard to watch. It's hard to look at. Hard to it's not very good
yeah,
quality.
yeah,
Yeah, almost
yeah.
all the movies that I've been in, that's happened where it was really good and gory, and then they cut it out. And it's like, well, it's like with Chainsaw Massacre. It's like, well, if you go to the movies to see a movie called Chainsaw Massacre, you're expecting to see blood and gore. Like,
Right,
we're not stupid horror fans. Like, I don't know
right.
why they always feel like they have to help us by cutting it out.
Exactly. Like it just doesn't make sense to me. So about your death scene, how was it filmed and prepped, and was your scene butchered, so to speak, by the MPAA?
Well, the funny thing is we were filming. Well, the weird thing is sometimes I'm a vision, so sometimes I would be in the cabin, like puking blood up. I actually that shot, if anybody's really familiar with the project, there's a shot where Lar Park Lincoln is in a kitchen, and she sees me like getting killed by
Yeah.
Jason and like throwing up blood. That was actually Kane's very first shot as Jason, and
Oh,
my very first shot, in the movie. So I went there into that cabin set. The inside of the cabin was filmed in LA, and the outside was filmed in Point Claire, Alabama, which is no longer there thanks to a hurricane. But anyway, yeah, they put this horrible, salty, horrible mouth blood, and they gave it to me, and then we did it over and over and over again. It's disgusting and gross and really fun. But then when I did outside, we were filming in this like forest in Point Clear, Alabama. Excuse me, and was filled with lime ticks. So they had me crawling and hanging in a tree and doing all this stuff. And oh my gosh, I was so worried about getting bit by a lime tick. I'm such a pussy. I was just, even when I was hanging in that tree, it's all I could think about. But my death is pretty, it was a lot more bloody. It was more puking. You know, he throws that like camping tent spike, like it's kind of like a paper airplane, stuck in me. And then I was just puking blood and all this stuff. And they really cut it really fast, where it's just like it goes in me, he picks me up and throws me over. It's just, you know, they cut easily 5 seconds out of it just to make, which is silly because it would have been more fun, you know.
Exactly. Now the tent spike. Now how did that get when he threw that? Was that just like he threw it type of thing, and then they cut, and then the tent spike just
they had a so they had Kane standing on one side, and they had a fishing line that went from his like right shoulder to the tree ahead of me, so it was really taut. And the camping tent spike was a plastic one that had holes drilled in it, and it was put on that fishing line. And then they had one that pulled it, so they were with him, and he just made the motion like he threw it, and then they just had the camera go like that, and I had another one that was already stuck in my back. So they whipped over, so it looked like it had flown over to me. And I think they also shot coverage of it, so I might be simplifying it. Might be a little more difficult than that, but it's basically that's what happened. It was on a fishing line flying, and then I had one that was stuck in me.
Nice.
And then you'll see whenever Kane is lifting me up, you see my face going like, ah. Kane was like just cramming that thing in my back. It's hilarious. Like, I'm not acting at all. You know, when you're with Kane Hodder and he's Jason, if he tells you to run, you better run, because he's so into it. You know, he doesn't talk. He doesn't talk to you. He just stares at you with the mask on. And I love that guy. I worked with him for so many years. I just think he's the greatest guy ever.
Nice. And I forget who it was. I interviewed somebody, and I don't think it was like at somebody in Friday the 13th. I'm pretty sure it was like an indie filmmaker. And they told me that like when you meet Kane Hodder at a convention or whatever, he gives you the option to choke you, like as Jason. And somebody asked him to like the guy that was telling me the story asked him to take the picture of Jason choking him, and he didn't know how to work this camera. This is one of those old school cameras that has like a million different buttons on it. It's like, which one do you press? You know, take the picture. And and by the time he's looking at it to figure it out, the guy's turning blue. Because Kane really chokes you, and he's trying to figure out, how do I take this freaking picture? And this guy's turning blue, and he's like, okay, can you please stop choking him for a second so he doesn't die and pass out or something? Help me figure out how to take this thing.
I think he stopped choking people because I think somebody got I don't know if it was that moment, but I think somebody got their neck cracked, you know.
Ooh,
and so he's like, he won't do it anymore. And then there was another time he told me that, you know, he has his fake machete that he has with him when he's Jason. And then I guess some kid came in with a photorealistic one from the movie that was a real machete. And while they were all getting ready, the kid had put his down on the table, and Kane picked up the real one and held it on someone's throat and cut him a little bit. Yeah. Wow. You got a little scar on your neck from Jason Voorhees. That's pretty cool. As long as your head's still on your shoulders. Yeah.
As long as he doesn't cut any major arteries or any major veins, then give me a scar, please, Kane.
I talked to him. He's like, I don't do that anymore. It's too dangerous. It's like, all right, okay.
I really want to interview Kane Hodder, but every time I reach out to his agent Judy, he's not available, or he's always.
Well, you know, I think he's gonna start his own podcast. I heard.
Okay.
And so I heard he's stopping doing. I mean, I'm happy to be on your show, but we do get asked a lot, and especially for someone like me, like I'm not really that big of a deal. And so after, sometimes we just don't say yes, because it's like, how much more do people need to
Right.
hear about me? But I mean, you're a good interviewer, so you're getting it out of me. But like,
Right.
I think he's the same way. It's like after a while, it's like, oh my God, like I can't
Right.
talk about myself anymore. And especially, he really gets it,
Yeah, I'm sure he does. I mean, he was Jason in 4 movies, and he's most people
Yeah.
know that when you associate Kane Hodder with any movie role he's ever done, it's always Jason, Jason, Jason.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So, speaking of Kane Hodder, what was it like working with him?
Great. It's like I said, he's always in character when he's in the Jason outfit. He won't talk to you. He's a hilarious person. He's a very close friend of mine. We were both sadly there with John Buechler on his last day on Earth at the hospital. I mean, I'm constantly in touch with Kane, even if we're not working together. He's just a great guy. He's just a very, very funny person, a very good stunt man, and a decent guy.
Great. He's like definitely my favorite Jason. Between him and Ted White, those two I love them as Jason. And Kane, you could tell he really made Jason his own. Like he really made that character his own, and he did that job justice. I really enjoy him as that character.
He really did. He should only, I hate to sound like a fanboy, but he should really be the only one that does it, because he really does it right,
Absolutely. And when Freddy versus Jason came out and everything, I was so disappointed when he didn't do that.
I know. I don't know. I can't believe they did not let him do it. I don't know why.
Right.
I don't know if it was a money thing or I don't know.
Right.
Weird. I don't know.
And it's sad because he would have definitely made that movie so much better.
Yeah. Did you like that movie? I liked it.
I liked it. I really did like it.
Yeah.
I just, the only thing was Jason seemed different than original because it wasn't Kane Hodder that I'm used to. That I like.
It's a little too athletic looking,
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah, I agree.
Kane's got that like barrel chest and all that stuff. He looks like Jason Voorhees. You better get up here.
He does.
My little dog's trying to. He's gonna come up. Come sit by me.
So, what was the best part about filming Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, and what was the worst?
Well, the best part of it was getting in the movie, because at that time period, if you were a young dopey actor like I was, and you were in a Friday the 13th, you were in an alumni of working actors, and if a casting director read on your resume that you were in a Friday the 13th, that means you had a good agent, because everybody in town will get submitted. So that means you have a good agent. It means you're not screwing it up. I wasn't brilliant in the movie, but they knew that you weren't. If you're in a Paramount movie, so you just get a lot of other movie, and from being in a Friday the 13th, it gave me, as a horror fan and a performer, it gave me a lot of opportunity to do other horror films, which I was thrilled to do. I mean, I went around the world doing them, and so that part was really good. The bad part, which is in my book, I won't give you too many details, but I may or may not have been very inebriated and stole a golf cart at the hotel and accidentally drove it into Mobile Bay.
Oh, I can't wait to read that story.
Yeah, you won't believe it. You will not believe it. You will not believe it. And that is, I didn't steal the golf cart once. I stole the golf cart twice, because I was so hammered. We had all just got there, and we all got really drunk. And I stole the golf cart and was driving around. And then they took me to my room and put me to bed. And then after they left, I got back up and stole it again and was driving around and ended up driving it off the pier. So,
that's hilarious. Oh my God.
Yeah, the dialogue that I had with my agent the next morning was not the most fun dialogue, but it does make for a good reading of a good story.
That is awesome. And also the mention where you said about the best part about being in the movie, and of course being in a Paramount movie. I mean, also the fact that you get killed by Jason. I mean, that's amazing in and of itself.
I'm telling you, you could not help but to feel special. And also they spent the right amount of money on those movies where you had your own dressing room and your own hotel room, and you fly you out there first class, and there was no expense, and you just it raises your confidence, and that's really You know, I'm wondering if Henry's ever going to make the couch soft enough where he can lay down. Henry, it's soft enough.
He's so cute. Oh my god.
He's a little puppet.
And I even see when Kane does the scene with when after he kills Ben and then he goes for Kate, played by Diane Almeida. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. And he ends up you could tell when he grabs her hair. It's not like he's gingerly doing it. Like he freaking grabbed her hair.
Oh no, yeah, no. There's no doubt that he's Jason when he's in the costume. He does stay in character the whole time. It's hilarious.
Every time I see that death, I'm like, ouch, he pulled that hair.
They should be doing a Friday the 13th TV series, and he should be in it right now. Now, what these guys are wasting their time with all this bickering over who owns the name, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. And there's tons of money to be had, fellas. You're getting older. Fucking figure it out and get the money, you know.
And don't do the whole Friday the 13th series they did in the 90s with the Miss.
No, oh my god,
did that piss you?
That pissed me off so bad. I was so excited it was going to be on.
I know.
And then I watched. I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Like, no.
The thing is.
Like, the episodes didn't even take place on Friday the 13th. It's just like
they just stole the name to benefit off of Jason Voorhees in that franchise.
So bad. So bad. And I didn't like Jason Goes to Hell either. I thought that was a weird one. Yeah. My friends did the effects on it, and I think Kane was in that one, right? Yeah.
Kane was in that one. I interviewed a lot of people from that one actually. I interviewed Adam Marcus, the director. I interviewed Julie Michaels, who played the FBI agent at the beginning, that you were kind of tricked into thinking it's gonna be the final girl. And I interviewed Creighton Duke, the bounty hunter. I have an interview tomorrow actually with Stephen Culp, who played Robert Campbell, the newscaster. I interview him tomorrow at 3. He was also in a bunch of stuff like How to Get Away with Murder, Scream Queens, American Horror Story. He was in a bunch of.
Wow, that's cool. What is your favorite Friday the 13th?
Part 7 for sure. And part 4. I
love part 2 so much.
I do,
because I love that Jason. That's a really good looking Jason. That's scary, you know. Yeah. When he leaped through that window, that just scared the hell out of me. I like the first one, of course, but part 2 is my favorite. I do like the one that I'm in, but not because I'm in it. I'm certainly not in it enough to like care about what I did in it. I like that one. Absolutely hated the space one. I'm surprised they never did a snow one. Isn't that weird? They didn't do like a winter one.
It's funny they mentioned that. The director of part 6, Tommy McLaughlin, I interviewed him, and he actually has a script for when this whole pandemic thing is, I mean, not pandemic thing, when the whole legal thing is situated. He's going to Paramount or New Line Cinema or whoever has the rights. He's going to go to them, and he wrote a script of Jason in the snow.
Yeah, they need to do that. There's so many cool things. You can put somebody under the ice. You can stab them with the icicle. You can stab them with the ski pole. You know,
you can stab them with, decapitate them with the hockey stick.
Right. Shove them in boiling hot chocolate. You know.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. My friend Leslie Jordan was in one of them, and his face got smashed. Deep fryer. Yeah. He said it was root beer. He was like, "Oh my god!" I was like.
I interviewed his wife in the movie,
Rusty Schwimmer. Yeah, she's a really good friend of mine. Yeah,
nice. And I interviewed his son in the movie, Adam Cranner.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, she's really cool. She's amazing.
Yeah, she really is. She was such a sweetheart, and it's funny because I added her on Facebook because that's usually where I add a lot of my people that I try to get in touch with, because it's easier doing that through agents and everything like that. And I reached out to her, and she read the message, and she didn't get back to me for like 2 days, and then she agreed to it. And when we were having the interview, I said I forget how it all started, but she mentioned about how she got my message, and she before she even thought of responding, the first thing she went to is she recognized the name Adam Marcus as one of the people that I interviewed in the past, because I mentioned in the message that I interviewed Adam Marcus. So she reached out to Adam Marcus and said, "Hey Adam, this Scotty McCoy wants to interview me. Do you know anything about him? What's the up and up on him? Because I want to make sure that he's not like a creeper or a bad interviewer type of thing." And he's like, Adam's like, he's a good guy. He goes, "I actually bought his Friday the 13th trivia book, and it's really good. He actually promoted my trivia.
Cool.
So.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know you wrote that.
Yep, I wrote the ultimate Friday the 13th trivia book. So yeah,
that's cool. Congratulations.
Thank you. So yeah, and so she's like immediately once he gave the he's a hands down amazing guy. She's like, I had to do this interview.
Oh, that's cool.
Pretty cool, which is pretty cool. Getting a nice thing from Adam Marks and Rushy Swimmer. That's pretty darn cool.
Very cool, very cool. Yeah, she's a very accomplished actress.
She really is. I think she was.
Yeah.
She just filmed, or it was about to air, an NCIS or something like that, or a Chicago PD or something like that.
Yeah, and then she was in like the Little Princess, and she's in Perfect Storm.
Yeah, she was in a lot of
She's
good
in
stuff.
some big movies.
Yes, absolutely. So, what was your most memorable moment while filming Friday the 13th Part 7?
Well, I would have to say certainly driving a golf cart off a pier sticks out in my head. I would also say seeing the house explode, and them originally setting up so just the windows are supposed to blow out of it, and the entire house gets vaporized right in front of you. I have to say that was a highlight.
Nice. So, what do you think about Zombie Dad at the end?
It's okay. It felt kind of poked in there.
I think that personally, I think that the movie should have ended with the house exploding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how Jason, kind of was put down.
Yeah.
Other than that, if they wanted to do that, I think John Carl Buechler's idea should have stayed in, not Barbara Sack.
Well,
nixing that
where he was a bitch.
Yeah, I heard.
But the Zombie Dad was in there because the house was not supposed to blow up that big. It was supposed to just be a little bit. So that's why it would have made a little bit more sense, because Jason would clearly still be alive. The problem is it wasn't a problem because it was so amazing, but nobody thought the whole entire house was going to vaporize.
Right.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, you have to understand, that was real lumber and real wood. That wasn't like a balsa wood house. That was a real facade that was made out of heavy lumber. Awesome. In fact, when the roof of the front porch fell on Kane, that was real wood. That wasn't lightweight wood. That's why when you see it fall and you see him go straight down, it's because it's so heavy. Wow. He's like the most extraordinary stuntman who's ever lived, I think.
He's a champ. He's a champ. And the thing,
for sure.
And also, like Zombie Dad, like he was like, because of Barbara Sachs, he was like just looked like he was in a coal mine for like 5 minutes, and he got like this dust on his face.
And believe me, they threw that makeup together, and that was just all made up at the last minute. And that wasn't even a planned makeup. It was just right out of the kit. Just dual, latex on his face. It looked like an Italian, Italian zombie movie makeup.
Right. And I think they could have, if they did John Carl Buechler's idea, it would have just been so much better. I don't know if it was because of funds or what, but I mean, I just think it was kind of forced, like you said. It really was.
They poked it in there. He didn't want that to be in there.
Right.
But anyway.
So how about this one? I interviewed Terry Kaiser from Part 7, and he mentioned that there were rattlesnakes and alligators around while filming. Did you happen to see any?
Everywhere. Everywhere. I didn't see any rattlesnakes. I would have been up a tree. There was a man on set with us called Gator Man that had a shotgun. In every scene, he would go and walk around and make sure there's no alligators out there. And then he'd be standing right by the camera with the gun. It was nuts. Every fucking horror film that I've ever been in, it was on Chainsaw Massacre too. There was a rattlesnake guy, because we were out in Valencia and it was summer. And they have these sticks, and they stick these sticks in the, they tap the ground. I directed a movie last summer where we had a rattlesnake guy. It was like, I had to wear boots, like special boots to cover your ankles. So let's say the rattlesnakes can't bite through. It's like, oh my God, do I love filmmaking this much that I want to die at the mouth of a rattlesnake? But yes, that is a true story. That's a true story.
Terry Kaiser, he was funny about it. He's like, every single time I had to do a take, especially when I had to do the stunt when I ended up getting pushed backwards, I was afraid that I was going to end up in the mouth of an alligator.
Yeah, well, what about Heidi Kozak had to swim in the...
Oh my God, I know.
She got hypothermia. It was so freezing cold.
Yeah, I interviewed
her. Now, that was a movie.
Yeah.
That was a movie where it was supposed to be summer, and it was like .0 Celsius. It was freezing. So we'd all be, pretending like it was hot, and then and then they throw like giant, parkas on us to stay warm. But she had to swim in the water. I don't know how she did it.
And it
She's
wasn't like
such
just swimming in the water. She was completely naked,
completely naked, and with alligators.
And yeah,
Fucking ridiculous.
I would have been shitting my pants.
I would have never have done that in a million years. She was such a team player, man.
That's great. And I did interview her, and she mentioned that as well in that story. And that I was like, oh my God, can you imagine? I said, what were you thinking? She's like, I wasn't.
Yeah. She just said, yeah, I'll do it, whatever,
Right.
So crazy.
So the last question I got for you, of course, anything else? Do you, including other projects, websites, social media accounts that you like to promote to our viewing and listening audience, and also do one last plug for your book and your show?
Okay, cool. Well, I'm on Instagram, the William Butler.
Okay.
I usually put updates on everything that I have going on, Miskatonic University, on my book, and the stuff that I've been lucky enough to be in. And again, you can watch Miskatonic University on Amazon Prime, or, which I highly recommend, you can watch it on the Full Moon Features app, which is an app that Charlie Band has all his entire library on, like thousands, over 2,000 movies on there. And then he also has these obscure Italian horror films, Spanish horror films, softcore porn stuff that's like really cool, back when they used to actually spend money doing that kind of stuff, the craziest, like weird, like the Swedish, stewardesses, and like these weird kind of 70s movies. I just love it. It's like, it's really, I go there like once a week. It's like having your own like mom and pop like video store. It's like all these weird movies that you would rent just to check out, Then none of them are like anything to like that's not gonna win an Oscar, but it's definitely entertaining. I would recommend that. And then just you can get a hold of me through the William Butler and on Instagram. That's the main place that I keep updated. And just please check out my book. Again, it's you can pre-order it now. And that's all. I think I've done enough shuckstering. I really appreciate, I love the fans so much, and I'm so appreciative that some of these movies that I've done over 30 years ago, people still have so much affinity and love for, and it's always so surprising when people recognize me from them or like me in one of them, like, because I'm more surprised than anybody that I was in any of them. So it's a gift that keeps on giving,
Absolutely. And I thank you so much for your time. It's been an honor to interview you. I'm glad we got to make this happen after, I think I reached out to you, when was it, like January? And you're like, reach out about February. And then that got postponed, and now we're in March. But hey, we made it happen.
Yes. And thank you so much. You're an amazing interviewer. And I make sure you send me a link where I can see your other stuff. I'd like to see some of your other interviews.
Absolutely. It's on Apple Podcasts. That's where I get a lot of people that view it and everything. I just created a new YouTube channel, Slasher Scotty, so they don't have a lot of views or a lot of subscribers on there, because I used to just create originally I was doing the interviews back when I first started in 2016. I was doing them just for like a book. They weren't even going to be released at all, and then I made them into sneak peeks. So like that way I could keep it interesting for a book. But then I'm like, I don't want to do this for a book. Like, let people hear the full interview. So that's where I just created the Slasher Scotty banner. And now I do on top of that, like it's funny that you, when you messaged me like, oh, I'm home, I was like so happy, because I'm starting to film about 3 more episodes for my YouTube channel. I do like a rankings video.
Oh, cool.
10. And all that, and I'm going to be doing a body count episode where I go through every single horror movie pretty much in history, one episode at a time.
That's cool.
Doing a
I
body
love
count.
those videos. I love those videos on YouTube where they have every single person ever killed in a Friday the 13th in one video. It's so much fun, and it's also so weird to be watching it and to be into it, and then suddenly see my own face on there.
Absolutely.
All this stuff. I'll say before I hang up, and I know you have stuff to do. It's so weird to have been in so many movies that sometimes I'm asleep at like 3 a.m. and I fall asleep with the TV on, and I hear my own voice, like, screaming and being murdered. And I wake up and go like, oh my God, I had this giant horror film career it feels like a different life, But anyway, thank you again. Thank you again. You're a marvelous guy.
Yep, and
Of
I will send
course.
you the link to my Slasher Scotty account. Of course, so you can listen to all the full interviews on there. I've been recently doing Zoom interviews because of the pandemic, so you can see a lot of the Zoom interviews on there. Before I let you go,
Okay.
though, just want to let everybody know, if you're watching this on YouTube, give me a subscription. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or any of the other 25 plus podcasting platforms, give me a rate, review, comment, whatever you want to do. Subscribe, whatever you can do on there as well. And again, thank you, William. Thank you, Billy, for
Thank
joining
you.
me. I really appreciate it. You have a good rest of your day.
You too. Thanks
Yeah,
again.
thank you. Yeah,
Bye.
bye.